schools is going well. Good entries. Good. Really good.
Good morning. I'm here, of course, with Mark Cameron, the CEO of Bowls New Zealand, and to have one of our regular catch-ups and talk over a number of facets of what's gone on and what's about to go on. But Mark, I don't think it'd be, I think it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be right if we didn't say something about Christchurch on behalf of Bowls New Zealand to everybody.
Well, it's a tough one for us to be talking about, isn't it? Because it's this is bigger than sport. This is about, this is human lives and tragedy. So I guess our thoughts are out there to the people of Christchurch through this tough time, to the Muslim community. Clearly, it's just heartbreaking when you hear these sort of things, and for it to happen to Christchurch, of all the cities in New Zealand, that's just hard. It's really, really hard. So our thoughts and best wishes are out there to the Bowls community. To the wider community within Christchurch and New Zealand, as they deal through what is a really tough time.
So yeah, I know that Mark speaks rightly on behalf of all bowlers throughout New Zealand and bowls fraternity throughout New Zealand in sharing those wishes and sympathies and condolences to everybody. And let's just hope that it's something we never thought we'd see happen in our lifetime in our little country, but sadly it's happened. And
yeah, it makes the rest of this conversation irrelevant. It really does. But yeah, let's
go.
We push on, and that's what we are about.
We will,
New Zealanders, isn't it?
And also, I've got to welcome. I know that we've got two international viewers that watch all the time. Anne Dunwoody in Scotland, who I know is watching this morning.
Yes.
She always watches and comes on all our live streaming, of course. And Neil Dalrymple, the CEO of Bowls Australia, who watches. Yes, Neil. I was talking to Neil in Wellington, and he watches our little discussions and chats, etc.
Very good.
Which is good. So we hear that the under-23s is struggling for entries. Do we think a lower age bracket might have encouraged more of the younger ones to participate?
Well, let's talk about the under-23s first, and the secondary schools for that matter. So the New Zealand secondary schools and under-23s were two competitions that we revisited or brought about this year to replace the under-18s and under-21s. The secondary schools competition has gone from strength to strength. So last year the under-18s had roughly about 25, 30 participants. There'll be over 100 this year from all around the country taking part in the New Zealand secondary schools. So a big tick and a big thanks to those that have entered and to Auckland Bowls in terms of supporting the event. Alas, though, the under-23s hasn't been successful. The numbers haven't eventuated to the point now that we will announce, we are announcing now, but today, that the under-23s won't go ahead through lack of entries. The question I think that was asked there was if we had a move to the under-21s, would that have made any difference?
That was the question.
I don't think so. I think proof's in it, but the reality is that the under-21s of previous years were 80% the under-18 field.
Correct.
So it was a very small field in itself that were just the under-21s.
So are we really, and I see positives in this, because of what the upsurge in the secondary school competition, which of course is here in Auckland in a couple of weeks' time, which we're going to be live streaming the New Zealand secondary schools, and looking forward to that. That really we're going New Zealand secondary schools, and then the Burnside, of course, run those under-26s they have a tournament, don't they?
Oh yeah, that's potential. Is potential we look at an under-26 category. We do have to be conscious that that's a big gap between secondary schools and under-26s, so we are aware of that. But ultimately, we can only be directed by those that enter. Now I know that Bowls Canterbury made a heck of a lot of phone calls to try and get some of our better under-23 players along to that tournament, but to no avail. Just the numbers just weren't there, and we have to accept that.
So it's now. Is it fair to say then that we go back to a rethink and then trying to find, or let's say we find an acceptable age bracket that we should have an age group event?
Yeah, I think so. Look, I think we're onto a winner with the secondary schools.
It would certainly appear that way.
The numbers are threefold, fourfold on previous years. So we're on to a winner with that, but we haven't got the answer at that next stage up. So whether that's under 21s or under 26s, we'll have a look at that. Personally, I'm not convinced that 21s will work if 23s couldn't. So maybe it is that conversation around that next age bracket up.
Well, just keep posted, keep watching the Bowls New Zealand website, because there'll certainly there'll certainly be some action. Is that this next question is, which we've sort of answered it. You've changed your under 18s back to secondary schools tournament and raised your under 21s to under 23. Is there a chance of any under 19, under 20 tournament for kids who've just left school? Well, we've just really
there has to be demand.
Yes.
Ultimately, there needs to be demand for that. Now, the entries for the under 23s were, I think, 8, 10, something around that sort of number.
That's the number
That's
that
boys
I've been given.
boys and girls as well. So there's just not the numbers there.
It's interesting as well, though. We have got a number of, let's say, under 23 players who will, in fact, be representing their centres in the inter-centre playoffs this coming week here in Auckland. There'll be a number of players who would have qualified, likes of Sheldon Bagley, Howley, Caleb Hope, two that just quickly spring to mind, or Ashley Jeffcoat. There's a number of them who are actually playing at the highest level, and they wouldn't beat the under 23 again.
I think that's what we're finding here, is that those better players and that sort of 20 to 25 age bracket, they're already playing in the open events. They're already playing in the top events around the country. So they're just not prioritising now this under 23s tournament.
So is there any talk, next question, is there any talk of bringing back sevens for next season? I presume that's in reference to interclub sevens, I presume, would that be?
Yeah, look, we'll head around the community, the bowls community around the country in April, May, June, that sort of period. And we'll get some feedback again on some of the changes we've made, or all of the changes we've made, including where we stand with the interclub sevens. I sense certainly down the bottom of the South Island, the interclub sevens is a very, they'd love to see a New Zealand interclub sevens return to the national calendar. I haven't quite got that sense from the rest of the country, but haven't really asked the question either enough. But I will say this: if there are centres out there that see the demand for this type of event, then Bowls New Zealand's open to a conversation about that centre potentially hosting a New Zealand Interclub Sevens.
So as we've said all along, right through these discussions, and even from the infancy of these discussions, that yes, there's going to be changes made. Nothing's set in concrete permanently. The door's open, and we'll review and converse and see where we go from there.
Yeah, and we'll look at opportunities. Well, as I said, if someone wants to step up and put their hand up and say, we'll run one, in the same way as Auckland's done with the secondary schools, or North Harbour's doing with a Masters tournament for next year, if someone wants to look at an Interclub Sevens, we'll be a very interested party to that discussion.
Well, I think you and I know there's a couple of clubs who also would be keen to have dialogue relative to that, and
it needs more than a club, though.
Absolutely,
it needs that centre.
Absolutely, it does.
Support.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
So Bowls 3-5. Now we had a very successful televised tournament, and it's been great to see how Bowls 3-5 has been picked up around the country. And I saw on Facebook the other day it was the Auckland ones, and there's been heaps of them that they're enjoying it.
Do you know who won the North Harbour Bowls 3-5?
Riverhead
Bowling Club, complete with 30 members, 3 new lady members.
Because am I right? I'm sitting with someone who's a member of the Riverhead.
Perhaps you are. Perhaps you are.
So Bowls 3-5. Obviously, you're happy with year one, and where do we go from here?
Yeah, more than happy with year one. Not only with the television, but with the what's happened at the Interclub. So there are 154 clubs who participated in the Bowls 3-5 Interclub Series this year. Now, we didn't get it entirely right by any means. We need to revisit things like weeknight evenings, what time games start, potentially moving some of that to Sunday, etc. But the participation or the entries from the clubs was phenomenal, way ahead of what we thought. And the feedback in terms of the format of the game has been exceptional. And as I said, I popped along the other night to watch Riverhead play Browns Bay at Takapuna Bowling Club. It was two games went to tiebreaker end, Luckily, the third game wasn't needed from Riverhead's perspective, but it was good. It was good bowls.
But isn't that
different
good?
Bowls.
Here's a club like Riverhead. It's had 30 members.
Yeah,
And here they've won it.
yeah. Well,
Fantastic.
they've won the North Harbour.
Yeah, but
section.
they've won that particular event, and from what I have seen, there seems the participants in the club seem to have a lot of enjoyment and good numbers there as well as watching a lot of these playoff evenings.
Yeah, playoff evenings, good numbers. I think though that at the heart of it though is the format of the game, which is the two sets, sort of with tiebreaker type 1 hour type game, and I think that's the game that we were hoping we could introduce or really push through to get new people to bowls.
I think it's done that.
Yeah, well, I think we've still got a way to go, but I think now we have a game that's, shall we say, approved by the bowls community as being
Absolutely.
an option for the new novice bowler, as opposed to all day Saturday type bowls, all those bowls options that we have for Saturdays.
So how are we looking for a televised event again next year?
Really good. We'll bring some details out later on in terms of what it looks like.
Great.
But we have. I'm pleased to say that we've re-signed with Sky Sport for a further period of time. So there will be Bowls 3-5 on TV in 2019. It'll be bigger, bolder, brighter, and better. I'll
So
guarantee it.
there you are to all of those people watching this and listening you are continuously on about the TV thing. We're pleased to say that Bowls will have a strong presence again next year in the 2000. This year. We'll be back live on TV, and as Mark said, further details will come relevant to that. Now, the National Fours, we just finished National Fours in Wellington.
Yes.
And, we've two new winners.
Yes.
Mandy Boyd won her fifth New Zealand Fours title, and the Dean Elgar side from West End, that amazing comeback over the last couple of ends to defeat Mike Kernahan in the final of the National Fours.
Was that over the 20th and 21st end as well, was it, Kevin?
I did make a comment to the Dean Elgar team afterwards. I said, well, if it had been 18 ends, you wouldn't have been standing up there. So
I think Mike Kernan's side might have lost one of the earlier rounds after 18 ends as well.
correct. And
well.
So
let's hit that one first, because it was I'll approach this differently. Can I just acknowledge Bowls Wellington, Nainai, and those other host clubs for putting on the event, for supporting the National Fours, Somerset National Fours. It was beautiful weekend, good bowls, good camaraderie. So thanks for that. I personally think we got the 21 ends wrong. 3 games of 21 in one day is too much. That was, it wasn't all the feedback I got, but it was, shall we say, 90% of the feedback was that it was a step too far.
Yep.
So we'll review that. My personal view is we'll probably drop back to 18 ends, but we will look to, and we'll talk about a survey later on, we'll look to get people's feedback as to maybe, is it better 2 games of 25 ends versus 3 games of 18? Well,
it'd be interesting to get that feedback, won't it? Because one thing that everyone's got to be aware of, that everything's got to fit into a realistic time slot as well. So, it's either you can't have everything, can you? It's
no.
If you were to move the 21s or 25s as an example, then you change the qualifying must change as well.
Well, you add another day
Correct.
Day to the tournament, which isn't for everyone's liking as well. So no, look, hands up too. We tried something out.
Oh, absolutely.
We did 21 ends. I think we got it wrong. I'm pretty sure we got it wrong. Although Dean Elgar's side might not have necessarily agree. But that's what this was about. This is about trying things. If they don't work, then we look to fix
But
them.
in saying that about trying things, though, Mark, by splitting the singles and pairs and having the fours as a separate one, as far as numbers participating were concerned, it worked, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, the split worked. The split was, I think, off the top of my head, from 560 unique people turning up to Nationals to 880, I think it was.
So
It's huge growth.
So it's worked.
Yeah, we're getting up near that 1,000 mark
Yeah.
again. So the split worked, but we've still got a way to go. We should always be looking to improve.
Well, as I keep saying to people, and I continue to say, and to some of the people who spoke to me in Nelson who were quite strong in their comments about a number of issues prior to the Nelson Falls commencing. I hope that you're watching and listening, because as I've said all along, that Bowls New Zealand will certainly listen and communicate and converse about trying to deliver the right product to the overall membership. And you can't always get it right. No one can.
No, you've got to try things,
Absolutely.
which means you've got to be prepared to fail. And I don't mind saying that we've given quite a few things a try this past summer.
Absolutely.
A lot have worked.
The majority.
Yeah,
So
some haven't.
So a big weekend coming up this weekend. Of course,
Yes.
Thursday we start with the North-South game.
Yes.
Which is, it's not, we had it a long, long time ago, Pound Shillings and Pence days virtually, but we're back with the North-South game. And it's a pretty important part of the whole high-performance program as well, isn't it?
Yeah, although, look, my hat's off to the selectors. What they did with the name of the sides is that they picked form players, not players solely from the high-performance squads. So there were players who've been selected to these two sides who demanded selection, and well done to the selectors for that, because I think it makes this into a real North Island versus South Island event,
Absolutely.
not some pseudo high-performance selection tool.
Yes.
No, this is the North Island versus the South Island and bowls, and to the winner the spoils kind of thing. I think it's going to be great. I think it's it's the right step for us, for our sport. Not many sports are running North versus South anymore.
Well, there's a lot of people talking about it, so which is a plus, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, so, and
You'll be live stream. You and Tamara will be there with your cameras and
yes, we'll be there.
trying to
live.
cover how many rinks you're doing? 7.
I'll talk to the
Yes.
head of production later on, but I'm sure we don't away at 4:00. I think it is on Thursday.
Yes.
And of course we're looking forward to it. And then we're going to after the North South starting Friday. Of course, we've got the Intercentre going Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yes.
And we'll be live streaming from that as well. Of course, there's multiple venues used in Auckland for that event, with Howick being the headquarters. 25 centres?
25 centres, yep. For some, for 6, they start on the Thursday, actually, late Thursday. We are looking to change it up this year. Tamara will talk to you later on about how you're going to manage to cover 6 centres and 6 clubs, I think, and whatever it is, however many rinks that is. But I think we're looking to probably just adapt the coverage a little bit, so it's not just focused on one rink, so it's focused on what's happening around the tournament.
It's great. We're bringing people, and we're bringing people more live as it happens type scenarios. So, so for people in the Auckland area watching this, the Intercentre is a big event, and urge you to get along and have a look, because you're going to see the best in action. And I think I'm right in saying after North South's finished, there's a New Zealand training camp for a couple of days after that. I think
on the Monday, Tuesday.
The Monday and Tuesday, there's a New Zealand training camp.
Yep.
And the selectors will no doubt be getting together to talk about their next phase, which of course is the Asia Pacific in June. So all these things just sort of roll in to one another, don't they? So a busy time for them as well, isn't it?
It is.
And for the selectors, there's a lot of bowls to watch over the next, this coming week, isn't there?
It's been a lot of bowls to watch all summer.
Well, it has, and it'll be interesting. I happen to know one New Zealand selector who's actually going to go out and be watching the New Zealand secondary schools, because you might find that Jonah Lomu, that Christian Cullen, who's...
It's funny you should say that, because I didn't see any selectors there for the Riverhead Junior Pairs on Saturday. Admittedly, I did lose both games, so I'm not overly worried by it. But I didn't see anyone there.
Well, I think
clearly they're not out and about as much as they need to be.
Well, there's a man I can see in an office over there who's in charge of all of that. You need to talk to him, mate. So the survey, we've got a survey underway, is that right?
Yeah. No, it won't happen till April, May.
Right.
But look, I'm quite keen to tackle some of these questions, and the 7s, the 21 ends. Let's start to ask some of these questions and get that feedback. We're really, really pleased with the survey we did end of last year, and we got over 1,000
on the
respondents.
Champions one?
Champs.
Yeah, it was over 1,000 there was, correct.
And I thought that was really good, because how do we learn unless we get the feedback? And what I enjoyed about that survey too was that it actually went right down to the members providing the feedback.
Yeah, which is good.
Well, sometimes you can get at the regional level, and the message is a little bit different to what it is from the members. So So yeah, we'll look to do a survey again. I think they're really important. I think they're really important for us to acknowledge mistakes and to
And for your planning?
yeah, planning for next year. Now, some of those things for next year have to be set now, and we're about.
Well,
to
yeah. So the venues for the national championships,
Yep.
they've been announced or they're about to be announced.
Yeah, so we've split. We keep the split for nationals going. Christchurch, Bowls Canterbury will be the host of the national singles and pairs from the 2nd to the 8th of January. So singles and pairs in the South Island, got that one. And the national fours, the Somerset national fours, will be in the Bay of Plenty.
Great to have it
So yeah, I think it's a good statement too. So it's not just Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch. We are, certainly with the Somerset fours prepared to push it out of the main three centres. So Mount Maunganui, I think, will be the HQ for that.
Well, I think as well, Mark, if you take that the fours as a case in point, going to a place like Tauranga or Mount Maunganui's headquarters,
Yep.
Groups of people can go there a bit of a holiday, can't they?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a lovely part of the country.
Yep.
And they can go and play
Fishing,
play the weekend, do what they want to do, on good greens as well. Very good services over there, and of course in Christchurch, as we know. So yeah, I think that's a plus, and well done to Tauranga and Mount Maunganui.
And just to round that off, the National Intercentre next year will be in Wellington.
Right.
So we're effectively going Bay of Plenty, Wellington, Christchurch for our three major events, the Somerset Singles and Pairs and Somerset Fours, and then the National Intercentre. So it's good.
So
I think it's a good outcome for the sport. I should acknowledge, though, that there are a number of centres that put their hand up to host. So thanking those centres for offering to host. Not this year, but I'm sure we'll be back in conversations for next year.
It's a positive, isn't it? So what else is happening in Bowl New Zealand right now? As we sort of,
I've got a little list, but I think we've just about covered it all off. Let's go. We're doing a little bit of a restructure around our CDO network.
Right.
So some of the centres may be aware that we, after 6 years of service, Lorraine McLeod's left Bowls New Zealand, and it's appropriate that I acknowledge everything that she's done for the sport. But we are looking to restructure and figure out. Well, in fact, we've come up with a new structure, we believe, which probably better services clubs and centres, within the resources we've got now. That is happening. And the only other conversation I wanted to pick up was I noticed in Facebook, Tamara has put up a little post saying we want to bring back the Dominion Fours Trophy.
I saw that. Yes, I did see that.
So we're after some budding or some very good retired or semi-retired. What did my dad say? My dad was a woodwork teacher, actually. Carpenter, joiner, no, a woodwork. Let's say someone to build us the damn shield. So we want the shield for the men's and women's. So we want someone to build us a shield along the lines of the Radfilly Shield, or those sort of big shields,
Grant
so that we can bring it.
You got someone down in Taranaki.
I'm sure there are people. There is someone around, and we'll commission the work, so we'll pay for the work as well. But we just want to bring back to the fours, the Somerset Fours, a bit of the Somerset Dominion Fours, a bit of the history. There's 100 years of history in these things. Let's bring that back. So that's what we're looking to do. Create a really nice trophy, but looking for someone within our community.
Now, also,
that might be prepared to do it.
Just from a Bowl New Zealand point of view as well, is that, just to refresh to people out there, you've got some commercial alliances now with the seed people, isn't it? And
Prebble
Seeds, with seeds and fertilisers and all that.
Clothing.
And of course you've got the insurance now with Apex for clubhouses.
And Tower for personal.
And Tower for your personal insurances, house contents and car, etc. Now all of those scenarios as well assist in building that income base for Bowl New Zealand as well, don't they? So you're supporting the sport to deliver out there to members.
Yeah, well, it's really important that we bring in some of this commercial revenue and therefore lessen our reliance on membership income. So we are actively building these partnerships, and as some of these competitions also go to another level, like the Bowls 3-5 on TV, we're able to get some commercial revenue out of those as well. So we need more commercial revenues. We need more partnerships. If there's anyone out there that's interested in supporting Bowls 3-5 on TV, We will gladly have this. We will welcome a conversation. Very interested in the conversation around vehicles at some stage.
Yeah, that's a good conversation.
So
yeah.
if there's anyone out there that is interested in a conversation there, then we think we've got a lot to offer.
So, yeah, Kia, Hyundai, all those sorts of people, the door's open, isn't it?
Yep.
So, look, we're about to sign off now, but just to remind everybody that we've got a big weekend coming up where we're going to start Thursday afternoon, where we're going to be live streaming.
Yes.
And then we'll be there right throughout the whole weekend of the Intercenter playoffs, and we'll be bringing you all the action, a lot of the action, right through to the finals on Sunday afternoon. And then, of course, the following week, we'll be bringing the New Zealand secondary schools as well, which we are live streaming from Auckland as well. So, although the Nationals are finished, we've still got a lot on, haven't we?
Still a lot on. And then I think we round off the season end of April with the Bowls 3-5 finals as well down in Nainai. So
that'll do for the year.
Yeah. Oh no, then we've got Champ of Champs in July, haven't we, as well?
There is
the Champ of
well.
Champs.
Yeah.
So there's a lot happening. Hats off to you in terms of your support, but everyone within the bowling community, the clubs. I mean, I know now firsthand how much effort goes into delivering a bowls program just within the club, let alone within the centre in New Zealand. So hats off to those people that actually step up and do these things.
Oh, I think we've come out a long way in the last 15, 18 months, to be fair, Mark. And thank you to all you people out there who watch it, who our live streaming and our chats with Mark. And look, please, when you've had a look at this, if you've got any questions that you want to raise, just put a private message on the Facebook page, and Bowls New Zealand I'll get back to you with a response. And
contact me direct as well.
And I've said to people before, and there's Mark has just reconfirmed that. Look, contact Mark at Bowls New Zealand. If you've got a pressing question or something you want to know, contact Mark at Bowls New Zealand, and they'll get back to you with some sort of response. So thanks again.
Thank you, Kevin.
Away we go on Thursday.